The summoning. Jack Morgan sat in silence as the shuttle hummed steadily toward the lunar base. The void outside the viewport stretched in infinite blackness, but his eyes were fixed on the blue-white orb of Earth, hanging still and delicate in the vacuum. It had only been 6 hours since he received the urgent message, report to Lunar Command. Priority Alpha, no details. No explanation. Just an override code and a timestamp. His hands rested on the straps across his lap, tightening unconsciously as the shuttle banked. He had a gut feeling that whatever awaited him would change everything. The docking clamps latched with a metallic clang. The shuttle door hissed open and a young ensign stood waiting, nervously straightening her collar. Lieutenant Commander Morgan. This way, sir. They're expecting you in Conference Room Delta. As they walked briskly through the bright, sterile corridors of Lunar Command, Jack took in the unusual activity. Heavy security at every junction, sealed access doors, patrols doubled and alert. The usual hum of routine had been replaced with urgency and caution. Something big was happening. The ensign stopped at a reinforced bulkhead guarded by 2 soldiers in full combat gear. She nodded, and one of the guards keyed the panel. The door slid open. Jack stepped into a room humming with tension. The air felt heavy. Seated at the long conference table were Earth's highest-ranking military officials, political advisors, and scientific experts. But his eyes immediately locked on the 2 figures at the head of the room. They weren't human. The taller one had a shimmering pale blue complexion, its large almond-shaped eyes blinking sideways. Its arms were folded, posture regal but relaxed. Beside it stood a shorter, broader being with bark-textured skin, knotted with muscle, its dark eyes wary. Morgan, good. Take a seat, Admiral Diane Foster said, her voice sharp and commanding. She wore her years of service like armor, silver hair pulled into a tight bun, expression unreadable. Jack sat down. With respect, Admiral, may I ask what this is about? What you are about to hear is classified beyond top secret, she said. As of 0600 hours yesterday, Earth is officially at war. His mouth went dry. War with whom? Not against, said the blue alien, its voice perfectly modulated in English. We are asking humanity to join our war. This is Ambassador Teller of the Hadrian, Foster explained, gesturing toward the tall alien. And Commander Gorks of the Krell, she turned to Jack. They represent the Galactic Confederation. An alliance of 7 spacefaring species. Jack blinked, absorbing the shock. First contact had already happened. And he hadn't known. Foster continued. We've monitored their signals for over a decade. The decision to keep it classified was made to avoid mass panic. We have been fighting the Vrax Empire for over 70 of your years, Teller said. They are unlike anything you have faced. They consume entire ecosystems. They do not negotiate. They do not spare. They turn living worlds into breeding grounds, Gorks added, his voice low and gravelly. They are 3 of your star systems away from Earth. Jack leaned forward. Why us? Surely you have technology far more advanced than ours. Technology does not win this war, Teller replied. The Vrax adapt to any weapon. What we need is unpredictability. Ingenuity. Ruthlessness. Humans fight unlike anything we have encountered. Your species evolved as both prey and predator, said Gorks. You think like hunters. Like survivors. At that moment, the door slid open and a woman entered, short brown hair, intense green eyes. Jack recognized her immediately. Kate Winters, he said, rising slightly. Sorry I'm late, she said, placing a tablet on the table. I was reviewing the data they provided. Dr. Winters is our lead xenobiologist, Foster said. She's been working with our guests for the past week. Kate pulled up a 3D image on her tablet. A grotesque creature filled the display, insectoid, armored, alien. This is a Vrax soldier. Pure predator. They function in a hive-like social structure. Imagine space locusts with advanced tech. They strip worlds and move on. Jack swallowed, and what do we get if we help? Survival, said Gorks flatly. And access to our technology, Teller added. Faster-than-light travel. Medical cures. Unlimited energy. The President and Joint Chiefs have agreed in principle, Foster said. We're forming a task force. Morgan, you're being considered for a command post. Jack nodded slowly. The air seemed to crackle with gravity. There's something else, Kate said. She turned to Teller and Gorks. Your biological data reveals vulnerabilities in the Vrak's physiology. I believe we can exploit them. How? Jack asked. By bringing other predators to war, she said. Earth evolved some of the most effective hunters in the galaxy. Wolves. Tigers. Insects that kill with venom. Bacteria that target specific genes. You want to bring animals to battle? Gork sounded almost amused. We already have, Kate said. Dogs, dolphins, even insects have served in combat. This gives us an edge. Something the Vraks won't expect. Foster glanced at Teller and Gorks. It's unconventional. But so are humans. They won't have defenses against creatures they've never encountered, Jack said, nor against us. Gorks tilted his head. Perhaps this is why the Council insisted on recruiting humans. Morgan, Foster said, you and Dr. Winters will assemble a list of viable species. Start trials immediately. We launch in 6 months. Jack and Kate exchanged a look, the weight of old memories between them. They'd once been close, before duty drove them apart. Now they would fight for Earth together. They always feared what might come from the stars, Jack murmured. No one expected that what makes Earth dangerous might be what saves it. Kate smiled. Let's show them what Earth's predators can do. 3 days later, humanity officially joined the Galactic Confederation. The war to save Earth had begun. The Invictus. The UE's Invictus hung in low orbit above Earth like a silent sentinel. It was a marvel of both human and alien engineering, titanium alloy plating fused with crystalline resonators from the Hadrian, its hull glowing faintly under the sun's reflection. The ship stretched nearly a kilometer in length, its design unlike anything built before on Earth. It was Earth's first true interstellar warship. Inside its wide command corridors, Colonel Alan Pierce strode with purpose. His boots struck the polished floor with authority as he passed crew members snapping to attention. A veteran of Earth's final World War, he bore the authority of someone who had seen humanity at its worst, and survived it. Status report, he said as he entered the bridge. Lieutenant Commander Jack Morgan turned from a glowing display. All personnel aboard, sir. Final checks complete. Dr. Winters confirms biological units secure and prepped. We're ready for departure. And our guests? Commander Gorks is on the bridge, Jack said, the other liaisons are in their quarters. Pierce nodded, then let's get this moving. Dr. Kate Winters, stationed several decks below, stood in the biological warfare section. The reinforced chamber was a marvel of security, isolating each biological unit in magnetically sealed pods. Her team moved with precision, checking seals, reviewing telemetry, and logging vital signs. K9 unit secure, reported Sergeant Maria Gomez. 12 enhanced shepherds, stasis protocols confirmed. Marine mammals in hydro tanks, prepped and stable, added Lieutenant Paul Carter. Communication uplinks active. Entomological units checked and double-checked, said technician Sasha Iliev, gesturing toward containment cases labeled with names like wasps, hornets, and bullet ants. Kate nodded, reviewing her tablet. Komodo dragons, wolves, and apex predators secured. One last confirmation. Her eyes lingered on 2 pods holding sedated tigers. Even in stasis, their presence commanded attention. Suddenly, the intercom clicked on, Dr. Winters to the bridge. Departure in 30. You heard the lady, Kate said. Lock it down. On the bridge, Captain Olivia Grant surveyed the crew. Human officers stood beside Hadrian analysts, Krell guards monitored security feeds, and hollow panels shimmered with data in every tongue known to the Alliance. Commander Gorks, she acknowledged the thick-barked alien, whose stance radiated skepticism. Do your people have final word from the Council? The Confederation ships are in escort formation, he said. You may proceed. Initiate launch, Grant ordered. The Invictus shuddered as its engines came online. On screen, Earth shrank slowly into the distance, a marble of life drifting in an ocean of stars. Jack stood beside Kate, who arrived moments earlier. I still can't believe you brought a tiger, he said. Two, actually, she said with a proud smile. Gorks nearly had a heart attack. He'll get used to them. Or he won't. The bridge quieted as the ship approached the massive ring structure ahead, the first alien FTL portal humanity would travel through. As space distorted, the Invictus entered the gate and vanished. Over the next 2 weeks, the crew trained for war. The Invictus had been retrofitted with environmental simulators, gravitational shifts, oxygen variables, atmospheric tolerances. Human soldiers drilled beside alien fighters in every condition imaginable. Jack supervised combat simulations with strike teams practicing alongside Krell and Valeran squads. Language barriers were tackled with neural overlays and translator headsets. The biggest challenge wasn't tactics, it was trust. In Lab Section 3, Kate worked with her team to condition the biological units. Drones patrolled every corridor. Every movement was logged, studied, analyzed. Most creatures adapted well. Others needed recalibration. Then the alarm blared. Security breach, Section 3, the AI's voice rang through the decks. Unauthorized containment compromise. Jack reached the section first, weapon drawn. What happened? One of the jumping spiders, Kate said, checking logs. Breach during feeding cycle. Containment failed. Threat level. To humans. None. To our alien friends. Psychological trauma. The fallout was swift. Hadrian crew locked themselves in quarters. A Krell officer called the incident an act of biological terrorism. Gorks threatened to file an official complaint. This is why bringing beasts is folly, he growled. So is underestimating what makes us strong, Jack countered. The spider was found hours later in an air duct, captured without incident. But the lesson had been made clear. Fear of Earth's predators was real. And useful. A day before reaching the front lines, Admiral Foster sent a message. In light of the breach, confirm all species protocols and secure additional documentation. We must prove our biological units are assets, not liabilities. Kate met Jack in the observation deck that night. Do you still think this will work? He asked. The Vraks have never encountered anything like Earth, she said, watching the stars flicker. They won't see it coming. Let's hope it's enough. On the final day, the Invictus emerged from the FTL corridor to a view of devastation. Outpost Sigma 9 floated in low orbit above a barren moon, its outer rings burning, energy shields failing. Battle stations, Grant shouted. Confederation ships formed a defensive wall, their beams firing into the pulsing, semi-organic Vrax vessels. More grotesque than majestic, they looked alive. Prepare ground teams, Colonel Pierce barked. We deploy immediately. In the staging bay, Jack gathered his squad. Soldiers checked rifles, synced neural relays, and secured packs. Maria Gomez knelt beside Ranger, her lead shepherd. Just another battlefield, she whispered. Kate rolled in a sealed case. Jack groaned. Please tell me there aren't spiders in there. Komodos. Oh good. Worse. The Vraks won't know what hit them. Shuttles launched into fire and flame. Humanity was about to make its entrance. Outpost Sigma-9. The docking clamps snapped with a jolt as the first human landing shuttles touched down in Sigma-9's emergency hangar bay. The vast station shook with distant concussive strikes. Support beams groaned. Red emergency lights painted everything in crisis hues. Colonel Pierce stepped off the lead shuttle, pulse rifle in hand. He was met by General Zichter of the Valeran, a towering insectoid alien with a carapace shimmering bronze and gold. The Valeran's two pairs of eyes blinked independently as he spoke through a translator collar. "You arrive at a critical moment," Zichter said. "The Vraks have breached the lower levels. Coordination is collapsing." "Show us the situation," Pierce said. Zichter activated a holographic map in the center of the docking bay. Blue zones marked Confederation control. Red bled like ink from the southern and eastern wings. "If they take the central reactor, the station is lost." Pierce nodded. "Split deployment. Morgan, take Alpha Team to the North Quadrant. Captain Holt, you're on the east corridors with K-9 unit. I'll secure the main line." Jack snapped a salute, then turned to Maria Gomez. "Your dogs ready?" "They were born ready," she said, tapping her neural interface. Ranger, her lead shepherd, gave a low rumble of awareness. 12 dogs stood ready behind their handlers, all equipped with combat armor, cameras, and biosync collars. Kate appeared beside Jack with a sealed cylinder. "Pheromone disruptors. Attach and trigger if you encounter Vraks. It should scramble their hive signaling." "We're counting on you," Jack said. Within minutes, the corridors of Sigma-9 became hunting grounds. Maria's K-9 unit moved like ghosts, guided by instinct and neural feedback. Ranger froze at a junction. Maria raised a fist. Everyone stopped. Data streamed through her headset, unfamiliar scent markers, fast movement, chemical signatures. 3 Vraks soldiers slithered through a maintenance corridor ahead, setting explosive charges. Captain Holt gave the hand signal. "Seek." In an instant, the shepherd sprang forward. Silent. Precise. Ranger leapt at the nearest Vraks, his genetically strengthened muscles launching him forward. The creature reacted too slowly. Ranger sank his teeth into a weak joint of the carapace. The alien screeched, dropping its charge. The other dogs mirrored the maneuver. Human troops surged forward behind them, executing practiced kill shots at vulnerable segments. "One alive," Holt shouted. A disarmed Vraks twitched, mandibles clicking, trying to reach a device on its forearm. "Stop it," Maria yelled. She slapped a disruptor patch on its carapace. A thin vapor hissed from the unit. The Vraks froze. "It worked," she whispered. "It can't connect to the others." Elsewhere, Jack led his Alpha squad through the North Quadrant. The Vraks had entrenched behind barricades, returning fire with terrifying precision. "They're anticipating confeed tactics," Jack muttered. "So we stop thinking like them." He split his team into squads of 3, sending them through crawlspaces and broken walls. Guerrilla warfare. Asymmetric. Brutal. They set up ambushes. Used decoys. Sprung traps. The Vraks were relentless, but confused. Jack activated his own disruptor patch and tossed it into a vent. The effect was immediate. 2 Vraks units stopped mid-motion, then thrashed in disorientation. Human rifles barked. Clean takedowns. By mid-shift, Sigma-9's command center received word, humans had taken the north and east quadrants. Pierce regrouped with General Zichter. The Valeran looked stunned. "We've rarely pushed them back so effectively." "Your methods are chaotic," Pierce said, "and that's exactly why they work." Meanwhile, in a secure lab, Kate examined the captured Vrak soldier. Its exoskeleton was twitching. Restrained. Breathing fast. Her team scanned with spectral analyzers and neural probes. This one is a mid-tier drone, Kate said. Semi-autonomous, but still connected to the Queen. Look here, she pointed to a small gland in its thorax. Pheromone nexus, said her assistant. Similar to ants. If we can isolate the signal transmission chain, we can hack their battlefield communication. Pierce entered. Can you weaponize it? Kate nodded. I think so. Controlled confusion. Viral disruption. I need field time to test it. By the end of the day, the Vrax began retreating. Human forces took the reactor hub. Confederation commanders were stunned. At a debrief, Gork stared at Maria and Ranger. Your beast fights with purpose. Loyalty. Rage. He's a soldier, Maria said simply. Teller turned to Pierce. Your species was feared because of its aggression. We thought you were dangerous because of your wars. But it's your survival that makes you deadly. And our partnerships, Kate added. No other world has creatures like ours. No other world fought for survival every day for millennia. Jack stood at the viewing window, watching the stars. They're starting to understand, he said. Yes, Kate replied, voice quiet. And the Vrax are starting to fear. The second wave. 3 months had passed since the battle at Outpost Sigma 9. In that time, humanity's reputation had exploded across the Confederation. What began as cautious partnership turned into strategic reliance. Whispers of Earth's predator divisions ran through alien channels with awe and unease. Admiral Diane Foster stood on the command deck of the UE's Artemis, flanked by her senior officers. Through the main viewport, the station known as Sigma 9 loomed large, fully repaired, now humming with activity and emblazoned with human and Confederation insignia. Final approach, reported her helmsman. Docking protocols engaged. Take us in, Foster said. Jack Morgan stood waiting in the primary docking bay. His uniform was sharp, boots polished. Beside him stood Maria Gomez, Ranger at her side. The dog was calm, but alert. As the Admiral stepped off the shuttle, the assembled personnel snapped to attention. At ease, she said, her voice weary but steady. No time for formalities. Where's General Pierce? This way, ma'am, Jack said, leading her through the corridors now lined with banners showing both human and alien symbols. Confederation officers saluted respectfully as they passed. Humans had earned more than just a seat at the table, they'd become essential. In the central war room, General Pierce stood before a holographic display of 3 systems along the front lines. Beside him were Dr. Kate Winters, General Zichter, and a dozen alien commanders. Admiral, Pierce said, nodding. Welcome to Sigma 9. I've read your reports, Foster said. Impressive results. Especially yours, Dr. Winters. Kate nodded. We've made significant progress. The units we brought from Earth are stable and integrated. And we've begun modifying new biological agents based on Vrax physiology. Such as a strain of engineered bacteria that breaks down Vrax armor proteins, Kate said, aerosol dispersal. Field tested on minor skirmishes. 70% efficacy. Foster turned to the alien commanders. How do our allies feel about this approach? Zichter's antenna twitched. Some still find your methods unsettling. But the results, they speak loudly. Good, Foster said. Because I've brought more. In a reinforced section of the station, Foster led them through a secure facility. Here, new biological units awaited deployment. Tanks of modified mosquitoes. Neural-linked wolves. Sonar-equipped dolphins. A hive of microwasps bred to infiltrate air systems. And something new. Bacterial packets keyed to Vrax biochemistry, Kate explained, they corrode their tech and block pheromone signaling. We're forming new strike groups, Pierce added. They'll operate autonomously in coordinated bursts, fast, savage, unpredictable. An alien scientist, a Hadrian specialist, peered into a containment unit. Inside, enhanced honeybees clustered. These communicate with you? Yes, Kate said. They respond to pheromones we trigger. Like remote commands. Jack stood at the rear, arms crossed. They're not weapons. They're allies. They fight with us. Not for us. Zictor seemed contemplative. On our worlds, we tamed our environments. Made peace with them. But yours, you mastered them through fire and hardship. We didn't tame Earth, Jack said, we survived it. And now, Pierce said, we'll survive the Vrax. An alert tone rang through the command center. Incoming transmission, said the communications officer. Priority Alpha. Teller appeared on the central holodisplay. His blue skin glowed faintly with stress. Admiral Foster. General Pierce. The Vrax are mobilizing. A massive fleet is en route to Helios Prime. Our main manufacturing world. Timeline, Foster asked, 3 days, at most. Our defenses are thin. If it falls, so does our ability to build. Rally the fleet, Pierce said, we'll meet them there. Kate leaned close to Jack as the others planned deployments. This is it. The turning point. Or the breaking one, he said quietly. Either way, Kate said, eyes steely, we'll show them what Earth is made of. Helios Prime. Helios Prime shimmered against the backdrop of space, a world of oceans and islands turned into the beating heart of the Confederation's shipbuilding capabilities. Its orbital rings buzzed with activity, each segment alive with factories, supply hubs, and defense nodes. Now, they were under siege. The Vrax fleet dropped from FTL like a storm of dark, pulsing leviathans. Each ship an ugly blend of biology and machinery, tentacled appendages writhing as weapons charged. In minutes, they unleashed a salvo that crippled the outermost stations. Admiral Foster stood on the command deck of the UE's Artemis, now joined with the Invictus in a multivector formation. The human fleet, backed by Confederation ships, numbered nearly 1,000. Deploy Predator divisions, she said. I want ground teams in place before the Vrax reach orbit. In the hangar bay, Jack Morgan helped secure final gear to the K-9 handlers. Maria Gomez gave Ranger a final check, then stood, eyes fierce. We've trained for this. Let's finish it. Kate Winters stood nearby, overseeing the release of field-modified insects and Predator units. Her team guided crates to drop pods, each labeled with biohazard warnings and GPS trackers. Targets are Vrax encampment zones only, she reminded. We hit their hives. Disrupt the Queen relays. General Pierce watched as orbital defenses lit up the black sky with blue and red pulses. The first wave of humans and their allies dropped in synchronized formations, landing like a meteor swarm. On the surface, chaos erupted. The Vrax struck with animalistic savagery, their hive coordination near perfect. But then the disruptors hit. The pheromone bombs detonated across their ranks, scattering their unity. Humans emerged from the smoke, wolves leading scouts, tiger units breaching command nests, bees penetrating air ducts and swarming interior command lines. Ranger launched into his 6th Vrax soldier with terrifying efficiency, moving faster than any drone. At his side, Maria used neural feedback to identify weak points, calling out to her squad. Flank the pod. Disruptor ready. Jack's team moved with brutal grace, striking from the shadows. His tactical pod was embedded deep behind Vrax lines, transmitting disruption patterns to nearby units. In the central hive chamber, Kate and a mixed human-alien science team released a final biochemical agent, a synthetic pheromone pulse that mimicked the Vrax's own emergency evacuation signal. The enemy broke ranks. Some panicked. Others turned on their own. We hacked their instincts, Kate said, almost in awe. 2 hours later, the Vrax fleet began a full retreat. On the Artemis, Foster stared at the readouts. They're pulling back. We've done it. Pierce exhaled. We broke the swarm. On the battlefield, Jack stood atop a scorched hill with Ranger panting beside him. His uniform was scorched, but he was alive. Kate joined him, her suit stained with soot and blood. They're gone, she said. For now, Jack replied. But they'll be back. And we'll be ready. With our allies. With our predators. Across the galaxy, news spread like wildfire. The humans had not only stood against the Vraks, they had broken them. And with them, came the beasts of Earth. The galaxy would never be the same.